Oh my goodness, it has been like 2 months since I last recorded a podcast episode, so we have so much to catch up on. Hello everyone, welcome to the Stitchberry podcast. This is episode 34 and my name is Grace. I'm the crochet designer behind stitchberryblog.com, where I share a ton of free crochet patterns. So if you like feminine, simple, and cozy crochet projects, I will have my website linked down below. And here on the podcast, I love sharing updates and more behind the scenes of my crochet designs and other crochet projects, as well as my knitting projects and really any other cozy hobbies or things that I've been loving. It has been 2 months since I last recorded actually more than 2 months, because I just checked. I had posted the last podcast episode the beginning of December, which means that I had probably filmed it before Thanksgiving, so it's more like 2.5, 3 months. So we have a lot to catch up on, and I'm really excited to share all of the things I've been working on. Because it's been so long, this is mostly going to be an episode of the things I've been knitting and crocheting this winter, and it's going to be a lot of finished projects because again, it's been so long and I only have 2 active whips right now. So I'm really excited to show you guys everything that I've been working on the last few months. And you might be wondering why it's been so long since I last recorded an episode, and the truth is I have just been so busy. Obviously the holidays are crazy. December was a really good month, but it was also a very busy month full of all of the holiday things, and so I just didn't have the time to record. And then while January was a much slower month and really just slow paced and relaxing, there was also just so much work to be done, and I had to dedicate the time that I would have had to record an episode to other things, which we will talk about very soon. And so yeah, I just never had the opportunity to sit down and record a podcast episode, but I have been posting several other videos. I did do a winter projects plan video, as well as I've done a couple of cozy wintry vlogs. So all of those are on my channel that you are obviously welcome to watch at any time. And before we get into the episode, I should also talk about what I'm wearing. This is the Alcot sweater vest. This right here is the reason why I could not record an episode in January, because I was so busy all month working on the pattern release for this design. This is a beautiful textured crochet sweater vest. It is so fun to make. All of my testers were like, it was a really fun pattern, and the stitch pattern was really fun. I will have the free crochet pattern linked down below, as well as anything else I mention, or most things that I mentioned in this episode will also be linked down below. But I'm so happy that this crochet pattern is now out in the world. I love it so much. It works up so quickly. It's slightly cropped, and because there are no sleeves, it uses minimal yarn, and you can easily make one of these in a week or two, just depending on how fast you crochet. So I'm absolutely obsessed with it. I'm very happy to now have this crochet pattern out in the world, because this has been, I think, almost 6 months in the making. I ordered the yarn for it and I started swatching, I think, in August or September of last year, and I was just able to release it at the end of January. So I'm very happy with how it turned out. I have been wanting to design a sweater vest for quite a few years now, so I'm really happy that I now have this vest in my portfolio of crochet patterns, as well as in my personal wardrobe. Like I said in the intro, I have a lot of finished projects to share with you, so we might as well dive right in. The first one that I'm going to show you, and the most exciting one, is the Moby slipover. It is so light, it's going to be hard to see on the screen. I casted this on right before Christmas, and kind of the week in between Christmas and New Year's, I was working on this non-stop while I was taking a break from work. All I did was work on this, and it was the perfect project to work on. I was able to focus a lot of time into it, so a majority of this was knit up in about a week and a half, and it was just the perfect project because while my brain wasn't filled with all of the things I need to do for work and just all of, you know, the things in my to-do list and things like that, I was able to dedicate a lot of brain space to knitting all of this beautiful texture and cables. Typically during the week, I don't have a lot of mental capacity to work on more complex projects. This wasn't that complicated, but it definitely takes more attention to work on. And just with work and everything, I usually don't have the mental capacity to work on a project like this during the week. So like I said, this was the perfect project to work on. I knit the medium size and I used Color Theory for this. I'm not sure the color name. I will put it up on the screen. It was yarn that I had left over my stash, so it was great that I was just able to pull some yarn from my stash and just knit a really fun, beautiful garment. I don't think I mentioned this, but this is a knitting pattern by Petite Knit. I believe it was the first pattern of hers that I ever knit, and it was just so fun. Like, this is one of those patterns where I love wearing the finished product and I've already worn it a couple times, but knitting this was just so fun and I really enjoyed the whole process, and it was just really exciting to see this texture just come to life. I had a hard time deciding on whether I should wear the Alcot sweater vest for this episode or the Moby slipover, and I eventually decided to wear the Alcot sweater vest, but I will definitely be wearing this in a future episode. And my next project that I finished is also another Petite Knit pattern. The Moby slipover was my first ever Petite Knit pattern, but I've had my eye on knitting a Oslo hat for quite a while, so this was another project that I worked on. I casted it on in January and I made it in just a couple weeks. I still have an end that I have not woven in yet, but for this hat I used a 100% alpaca. It was a fingering weight that I found at my local yarn store, and that's from a local farm to the yarn store and I guess to me. It is this beautiful camel color. I've been wanting to knit a hat in this camel color for so long, and so it was a fingering weight yarn, and I believe the pattern you were supposed to either like hold fingering weight together or it was supposed to be DK. I'm not 100% sure, so I held the yarn double, which creates a really warm hat. This is a double brim hat. It's gonna be kind of hard to see, but you essentially knit a brim that is twice the length that you want, and then you knit the brim together so it is completely closed, and you have this nice thick double brim, and then you turn your work, do some knitting, and then you turn it again, and then it has this nice purl section right here, which is actually knit. You just knit on the wrong side and then you flip it back over to knit on the right side again for the rest of the hat, and it just creates this nice edge here, so when you fold up the brim you don't see any of the pearls or the wrong side of the fabric at all when you fold it up, because you have that little bit of knitting right here that gives you a little bit of wiggle room so you can adjust the brim again without seeing the wrong side of the fabric. So that was a really cool, fun little detail. Now I will say with this hat I knit the adult small, I believe, and I did that because first of all I feel like I have a decently small head in comparison to other adults, but also I was nervous that I would not have enough yarn because I only had 100 grams total, so I was nervous that I would run out of yarn and if I wanted to knit a larger size, and so I did the small. It fits, but it is pretty tight, and I did aggressively block it out twice and that did help, but it is still tighter than I would like. My plan right now is to just sort of wear it, see if it stretches over time, see if it can just like mold to my head, but if not, maybe next fall, winter, I might rip it out and re-knit it a little bit bigger because I do have some yarn left over. And the reason why I would rip out a hat is because this is a really nice buttery soft yarn, and it was more expensive, so I want the project that I make with this yarn to be something that I actually want to wear. Normally I feel like with a hat I wouldn't go through all the trouble of completely taking out the entire project and reknitting it, but the yarn is just so luxurious and so nice that I don't want it to be wasted on a project that I never wear. So I'm excited to wear it and to add to my beanie collection, and hopefully I can get some more wear out of it before spring comes. And my last project is a new crochet design. I'm so excited to talk about this and to share more about this. So I have 3 samples here, which, side note, I love these colors together. I think that that is so beautiful. So this is the pearl headband. It is this tubular headband, so it is double thick and it is crocheted, but it looks just like garter stitch. Like, look at that. That is so nice. It is literally so stretchy. In the pattern, I'm pretty sure there's like 6 inches of negative ease because this stretches out so much. And actually, this was my first sample. I crocheted it, you know, to a length that I thought would fit my head, and then I seamed it together, and then I was wearing it throughout January while I was working on the other samples, and it actually stretched out so much that I was like, oh, this is a little too big now. So I undid the seam and I ripped out literally like 2 inches. So that's a little side note in the pattern. Of course, the pattern is going to have a ton of details and tips on how to crochet this headband, but this pattern has several different variations and sizes in it. So I have a child size, and then I have 3 adult sizes, so there's going to be a total of 4 sizes in the pattern, and there's going to be 3 different widths in the pattern as well. So you have this really wide headband, which is so nice, and then you have like the medium width and then the small width. This one I recommend for a child, and then these 2 are kind of more of the adult widths, if you will. This is my personal favorite. I think because I have really thin hair and a really round face, I think a headband this wide is not that flattering on me, but I really like this one, and it is the warmest headband ever. So you might be wondering how this design came about. It was actually by accident, and believe it or not, I do not have a crochet or knit headband at all in my wardrobe, and because I wear my hair up literally all the time, I was wanting something that I can wear outside with my hair in a bun that will still keep my ears and my head warm. So I had this idea of this really luxurious tubular double thick headband in mind, and so as one does, I was looking on Pinterest, I was looking on TikTok, seeing if there was already a pattern out there of what I wanted, and there are headbands similar to this, but they aren't exactly this pattern with this construction and just everything. So I decided to, of course, make my own, and originally I was just going to record like a quick 90-second video tutorial for TikTok and Instagram on how to make this because it is so simple. But once I finished this first sample, I was just so in love with it, and I knew I wanted to do this pattern justice beyond just releasing a 90-second video tutorial. I wanted it to have a permanent place on my blog as well as in my Etsy shop, and I even filmed a whole video tutorial on how to crochet this headband from start to finish that will be here on YouTube. So I decided that I would just spend some more time working on this headband. The pattern came together really quickly, which was really nice in comparison to the Alcot, which literally took 6 months. I pretty much was able to put this whole design together in about a month or so, which is really exciting and really good. I forgot to mention the yarn. So the secret to this pattern being just so luxurious and so warm and soft is the yarn. So I use Quincy & Co. Fern, which is a mulberry silk wool blend. It is so soft and so nice to crochet with. I absolutely love this yarn, and I held it double with this baby Surrey alpaca from Universal Yarn. This is their Penna yarn. It is so soft and so nice. This is also a dream to crochet with. So I held these double throughout the entire pattern, and it just creates this beautiful luxurious headband that does not look crochet, that literally looks store-bought. I love it so much, and I even love how there's some color variation between the two, and it just adds so much depth to the headband and interest to the headband. I love it so much. In case you can't tell, I am so excited for this pattern, and I cannot wait to see all of the lovely pearl headbands on my feed. So the crochet pattern for this is releasing February 13th, which I never know when these episodes are going to be released. It really all depends on how soon I can edit them and upload them. I don't really have a set schedule. I probably should, but I don't. If it is after February 13th, the pattern will be linked down below. If it is not, check back, because this pattern is just so good and so practical, and I love it so much. And that is all of my finished projects. There might be a couple more from December, but honestly, December feels so long ago, and I can't really remember anything I made before January. And I also thought that that segment was long enough. So with that, we can go ahead and talk about my whips. And the first one is a pretty new one that I just casted on, was it last week? A week and a half ago? I think it was just over a week ago. I don't know, I can't really remember. But I am knitting a Muscleburg hat. This is a pattern by Ysolda Teague, and I'm sure by now most of you are familiar with this pattern because everyone and their mother knits this pattern for good reason. But it is a really cool hat where you start at one crown, you do the increases, and then you just knit and knit and knit, and then you do decreases on the other side, and then you fold the hat inside itself. So you have this really nice warm double thick hat with a brim, and it is so nice. This is my third one that I'm knitting. So the first one was for myself, and I wear all the time in the winter. And then my second one was a Christmas gift for my dad. Oh, actually, that should have been in the finished project section now that I think about it. I finished this Muscleburg hat for my dad in December for Christmas, and I used Magpie Fibers Swanky Sock for that one, and he is completely obsessed with the hat. He loved it so much that he asked for another hat in black, which is this one right here. Because his birthday is in January, I said, okay, this will be your birthday gift. So I really wanted to try and get this one done. I knew it wasn't going to get done in January, but I was hoping to at least finish it by February so it's not a lingering whip. And I'm seeing him next weekend, so my goal is to have this finished by next weekend. Where this stitch marker is, this is all that I've done today. This is the only project I'm working on right now. This is what I have done today, so pretty good progress. And about where this stitch marker is about the halfway point for the hat. So I'm just over halfway. Who knows if I will actually get it finished in time. We shall see. I have 7 days. Yeah, 7-8 days. So we'll see if I can get this finished in time. But if not, it's not that big of a deal, but it would just be nice because I'm seeing him to give him his finished hat while it's still winter out. I know he would appreciate that. It would be nice to get this off my needles, and it would be nice to, again, not have this as a lingering whip, because I feel like these simple stockinette projects, they're so nice to have. I always like to have a simple stockinette, whether it's a hat like this or socks, on my needles, but I have them more for mindless knitting, and so they tend to linger around a little bit longer. So it's nice to have a deadline for this, and so then I can hopefully finish it up. And that means I will have knit a Muscleburg hat in like 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks, which is really good because this is so much knitting with fingering weight yarn. I'm using the exact same yarn I knit his last one in, the Magpie Swanky Sock yarn. It is so soft. It is a wool cashmere blend. It is so nice, and it is, again, so soft. I love it so much. The color options in this yarn are absolutely beautiful. I love it so much. So I've been working on this pretty much non-stop. This is the only whip I've been working on, which has been really nice, and I'm really excited to give it to him. I accidentally made my dad's first hat a little bit too big, so I made this one a little bit smaller. So I think that this one is going to fit him a little bit better, and I know he's going to get lots of wear out of this. I was just talking about having mindless projects that tend to linger, and this next one that I'm about to show you is literally that. I am making a very simple scarf. I actually have a lot of progress done on this, which is really exciting. I have not pulled this out in a couple weeks because, again, Muscleburg. But this is a crochet design that I'm working on. It uses the same stitch pattern that my mossy blanket uses. It is a really simple, basic scarf. I think I was talking about this in my project plans for this winter, that I wanted to knit a more, I wanted to crochet a more lightweight scarf. I love my burrow scarf. It is so thick and warm and chunky, but some days you just want something that's a little bit more lightweight and not so warm. So I started this sweet little scarf using universal fawning. This is a 70% baby alpaca, 30% extra fine merino wool. It is so soft. I love it so much. I love alpaca yarn so much. There is a time and a place for it, but I just love the halo that alpaca gives a yarn. It is just so nice, and it just makes it so luxurious. So this is a DK weight yarn, and again, it is literally so soft, and it is a delight to crochet with. I think that this yarn would make a really lovely sweater or cardigan. The drape is just insane on this. I love a yarn that gives a crochet project really good drape. So I love this. Again, this is a crochet design I'm working on. This will not be coming out until probably August or September. I want to create a whole little scarf collection using the stitch pattern, so doing 3 to 5 scarves that have the stitch pattern, but they're all different styles and sizes. So this is kind of like the basic one in the collection. So I'm going to be slowly working on that whole collection throughout the summer. I do want to finish this in February. I think that's a good goal. And then I have a couple of other designs that I want to start on. I have ordered yarn for them today because those are more spring summer projects. Then I want to focus on those. And I think I'm only going to be designing, I think that's the key word, 2 spring summer projects. I'm learning that most crochet designs, I'm just very slow. My process is very slow when it comes to designing crochet patterns, with the exception of this. This is the fastest I've ever started and released a crochet pattern. And there's a photo tutorial, there's a written pattern, there's a video tutorial. Like, I did a lot with this pattern, but I only really have 2 designs that I would like to release between the spring and summer. And then really everything else is more geared towards fall. So if I can finish up my spring summer ideas by like the end of March is my goal, then by April I can start on fall designs, because usually I'm not thinking about fall designs until July, August. And that just isn't ideal when you're a crochet designer and you want to release designs in the season that that design is for, because then it's just coming out towards the end of the season and then everyone is thinking about the next season. So I'm really focused this year on doing less but doing really good quality patterns and working on them really far ahead of the seasons. I really didn't release any fall winter patterns this fall. I did the mossy blanket in August, and then my next pattern was the English breakfast pillow, which yes, that was for Advent season, but it's not like a fall winter project. So I really want to work this year on working ahead way more than I did in the past. So that really means this summer I will be working on woolly sweaters and scarves, but it will be wonderful because then I will have those designs for fall and they will be all ready to go. So I'm really excited about that, and it's just making me so excited for this year and the designs that I have planned and that I want to work on. That is all of the knitting and crocheting I have to talk about. I feel like that was a lot. I feel like I've been talking forever. I'm at the point where I'm like, okay, Grace, we need to wrap this up. But I did just want to talk about a couple of other hobbies that I'm dipping my toe into. So one hobby or skill that I've been wanting to work on for months is floral arranging. I have been, like, if you know me, flowers are one of my all-time favorite things in the world. I love flowers so much, and I really want to hone in on the skills of flower arranging and arranging bouquets of flowers. So this is the first bouquet that I made a couple weeks ago. I got all of the flowers at Kroger, and I spent like 30 to 45 minutes putting this bouquet together. I think it is so beautiful, and I did that for $20, which is really good. Like, I feel like that looks like a at least $40–50 bouquet. I mean, maybe I'm insane, maybe not 50, maybe like 30. I don't know. I'm only comparing that to like Kroger bouquets because I don't really go to flower stores or anything like that. But anyways, this was my first arrangement. I was really happy with it. The process of prepping the stems and arranging the flowers was truly one of the most therapeutic things I've ever done. Like, for the 45 minutes it took me to put this bouquet together, which sounds like a long time, but I was taking my sweet old time, enjoying the whole process. I cannot explain just like the peace. Like, I did not have a single other thought going on in my brain except this bouquet while I was working on it. Like, I wasn't thinking about work or life or literally anything but this bouquet, and that was just so calming and so therapeutic to just be putting all of my energy, but it wasn't an exhausting energy. It was like a refueling energy into this bouquet. So hopefully I will be sharing a lot more flower arrangements on Instagram as well as here. I'm hoping to maybe include some in some vlogs that I do in the future. I think that that would be really fun. And my big takeaway from this first bouquet is I need to work on making it more, like, I call it like 360 friendly. There's a very distinct front and back to the bouquet because obviously I'm working from like one side, so I'm sticking in the flowers and things, you know, so then it looks nice from one side. And it's flowers, obviously it looks nice from any direction, but there's a very clear front and back to it, and so I want to work on making it more, I don't know, just looking beautiful from every angle, especially because all of the bouquets that I get, I put them on my table, and so I see them all the way around. If I was putting it up on a shelf, I don't think I would really worry about that, but because I place them somewhere where I see the full bouquet from every angle, I just want to work on making it a little bit more 360 friendly. And another hobby, I don't know if it's a hobby, well, it kind of is. Something else that I started in January is my sourdough. So I was able to get some of my friends' starter, and so now I am officially on the sourdough train and making sourdough bread. I literally have a loaf rusting, rising, whatever it does right now. I've made a couple so far. It's been so fun and I love it so much. I'm not new to making bread. I've made bread a ton in the past. I love making a nice artisan, like crusty loaf of bread. So I'm really excited to be diving into this next step of sourdough. I love the taste of sourdough. It's my favorite bread. I'm really excited to make lots of different flavors of sourdough. I think that that will be really yummy, and I'm just excited for all of the bread that I'll be making this year from my starter. That is all that I have for today. That felt like so much, but I appreciate you sticking around to the end. I can hear my voice just giving out right now. so I need to be done. Thank you so much for watching and for sticking around. I really appreciate it. I am so excited for this year and for all of the making and all of the things I have planned, so stay tuned, and I hope you all have a lovely and cozy day.